Welcome to my channel again and another Carecollab. Joining this time are little orchids and Insa orchids. You'll find the links in the description below. The topic today is a genus, Barkeria, and how we grow them, successfully or not, under our growing conditions. Barkeria are an orchid genus that consists of 18 species divided into 3 sections and can be found in western Mexico and the rest of Central America. A few species grow in more humid areas and are protected from high light by the shade of trees and other plants. They grow mainly epiphytically but can also be found growing lithophytically in more exposed areas. But one thing they all have in common is that they like to grow with their roots exposed so they can dry up quickly. Wherever they occur, they have a wet growing season and a dry rest season, each taking up approximately 6 months. These are the 5 species I currently have in my collection, while a 6th, the Barkeria lindleyana, is on its way to me. Barkeria are weird growing orchids that multiply themselves by producing keikis. These can appear everywhere on a growth, and in time they can form a huge bush with roots going everywhere. I changed the way I'm growing these orchids now, and here's a short clip of a Barkeria repot I posted on my channel earlier. If you want to see the whole video, I added the link at the end of this one. The problem most people have with them is, as we like them to grow in pots, like our other orchids, there within lies a problem. These orchids need their roots to dry out quickly, otherwise they can get infected by fungi or they just start to rot. I too had that problem in the beginning, and after a lot of research I came across the Mass Orchids website and a lecture given on Barkeria on YouTube explaining how best to grow these species or their hybrids. And since I changed my growing methods, my plants are doing fine, and this year, for the first time, they started flowering for me. If you're interested in the mentioned YouTube video and the Mass Orchids website, I have put the links into the description below. Since these orchids like to have their roots to dry out quickly and they hate stagnating water, it was suggested to use either mesh pots or to mount them, but in any case, if they should be potted up, to use a very coarse and best inorganic media that doesn't hold water for too long. Also, terracotta pots were suggested instead of plastic ones. Unglazed terracotta pots also help with the roots drying up more quickly than in plastic ones. So I first soaked the roots to make them more pliable, and then I put my plants in unglazed terracotta pots with holes in them. As for media, I chose very coarse sponge cubes. This way, the air circulates quickly through the pot and dries up the roots quickly. As I like to grow many of my warmer growing orchids outside in summer, Barkeria have thin leaves, and to adjust to the higher light intensity they will get outside, I first put them in a more shaded position. And when they adjusted after approximately 2 weeks, I moved them into a more sunny area that only gets sun for approximately 3 to 4 hours in late afternoon. However, the higher light intensity outside colors their leaves more reddish. This reddish color is actually the orchid's way to protect itself from high light. And the reddish purple color you see on the leaves is actually anthocyanin, a natural antioxidant that causes the leaves to turn this color. And it also means that the orchid is getting too much light. But while they adjust to the higher light, this reddish color often fades in time. And when the orchid is taken out of that high light position, you'll see in a few days the leaves start to green up again. When my Barkeria are outside, I water them every day, mostly by spraying, and make sure they are dry before night falls. And in drier periods, I dunk them at least once a week. This year we had quite a wet summer, and when it finally started to get drier mid-August, they started out shooting flower spikes up in the air. But these flower spikes take a long time to mature and start showing buds. And then again, when the buds are there, it can take a few more weeks before the flowers open. So it was mid-October before the first flowers showed their beauty. And once the flowers open, you can enjoy them for at least 4 to 6 weeks. In Central America, these orchids are also grown for cut flowers, where they last at least 3 weeks in a vase. When the cold comes here in our northern hemisphere and day temperatures go below 16 degrees centigrade and night temperatures below 10, I bring all my warmer growing orchids inside the house. The smaller Barkeria species have been growing in my grow tent all summer because they are still young plants. But since the other ones were spiking, they too were brought into the grow tent where they can enjoy higher light and, more importantly, higher temperatures. In the grow tent, temperatures stay around 25 degrees centigrade during the day, and at night they go down to 18 or 19 degrees. Propagating these Barkeria, especially those that belong to the scandens group, is quite easy. As mentioned before, they multiply by growing keikis from their stems, and you can either remove them by slightly twisting them off, or like this time, the keiki just separated from the mother plant, so I just have to take it and mount it on a piece of wood where Tillandsia butzi is growing, a Tillandsia species that naturally occurs in the same growing area as Barkeria scandens. I just secured it with a piece of aluminium bonsai wire and it'll grow on in future and attach itself. Here's my first ever flower of Barkeria scandens, that's only 2.5 centimeters high or 1 inch. And here's the fully open spike of Barkeria Vanneriana. Its flowers are more than double the size of those from the scandens. While the Barkeria are in the grow tent, they are watered daily by spraying them, and every watering, wherever I grow them, always contains my one and only rain mix fertilizer. I never use anything else. When they are done flowering, they will be removed from the grow tent and put into a light and warm position in the house, where they will be kept drier with less waterings until coming spring, when they come out of dormancy and start growing again. I hope you found this a bit interesting, and hopefully it inspires more people to grow these wonderful orchids. If you grow Barkeria and want to join in on future updates on this orchid genus, please leave me a comment below or contact me by email. Thanks for watching, and until the next video.